A touching encounter. A poor woman discovers her dying son is a billionaire, changing lives forever. Mary stared at the tattered bill stacked on her kitchen table, the faded letters blurring through unshed tears. The weight of her life pressed down on her like a heavy blanket, each harsh reminder of unpaid bills echoing the fading whisper of hope. The empty chair beside her felt like a gaping wound, reminding her of Jason, the bright-eyed boy who once filled this home with dreams. He had left years ago, chasing something grander, a world she couldn't understand. Now, the phone call had come, a frantic voice, a distant echo of desperation. "Your son is gravely ill." In that moment, her heart pounded so loud she couldn't hear anything else. The world she knew, a modest existence filled with hard-earned kindness and late-night worry, seemed to shatter and swirl around her. Jason. The boy she raised through storms and struggle, who once promised his mother he'd come back a hero. Her hands trembled, thinking of all the lost time. As waves of grief washed over her, Mary felt the sinking feeling of anger. Why now? She thought, her heart yearning for connection yet burdened by betrayal. The pain of their estrangement dug deep, yet a flicker of determination ignited within her. She couldn't let this opportunity slip away. Meanwhile, across the country in a sterile hospital room, Jason lay pale and alone, the weight of his past heavy on his shoulders. A billionaire tech mogul, he had built a life adorned with success but cluttered with guilt. Memories of his mother's warm smile haunted him. He had strived for greatness, but the emptiness in his heart felt like a colossal void. The sterile walls of the hospital contrasted sharply with the vibrant life he had chased, now consumed by regret. Determined to reconnect, Mary packed a small bag, her heart racing with a blend of anger and hope. She knew he wouldn't have much time. As she arrived at the towering hospital, the contrast between their worlds struck her like a punch in the gut. Beautifully dressed friends of Jason's whispered and cackled, their laughter echoing coldly, dismissing her as an outsider. But Mary wasn't there to be an outcast. She was there to reclaim her son, to step back into the story they once shared. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Finally, an opportunity presented itself. With a deep breath, she stepped into the gala room, her heart hammering as she watched glamorous faces and golden chandeliers glittering like the starlit sky. She approached, and the faces turned, the laughter silencing. Yet, when she introduced herself, her heart sank at the cold indifference. They couldn't see the depth of her love, they saw only threads of poverty and heartache. But just as despair threatened to swallow her whole, a sudden emergency struck. The monitors in Jason's room beeped in distress. She rushed to his side, determination fueling her steps. There, in the swirling chaos of crisis, Mary confronted him not just with anger but with the undeniable truth of a shared past. As their eyes met, old wounds reopened, yet amidst the turmoil, a beam of hope flickered. The unearthed love mingled with their struggles, creating a tapestry of longing and resilience. In that moment, both mother and son stood on the precipice of a transformed journey, waiting to see if love could truly bridge the gulf that separated them. Could their family bond survive in a world designed to divide? The answer was ready to unfold, but for now, the silence hung thick, brimming with unresolved questions and the promise of something profound yet to come. Mary clutched Jason's hand, feeling the warmth of his skin beneath her fingers. It had been so long since she had felt that bond, one they used to share effortlessly as they spoke and laughed together. The beeping of the machines filled the room with a sterile rhythm that only heightened her anxiety. She could see the worry etched on Jason's face, his once bright eyes now clouded with pain, but the moment their eyes locked, something shifted. "Mom," he whispered, his voice barely audible, choked with emotion. "I'm here, Jason," she replied, the tears spilled over, tracing warm paths down her cheeks. She could hardly believe she was in this moment. So much regret lay between them, yet now it felt like they were both desperately reaching for each other through the chasm of silence and time. In that cramped hospital room, memories flooded Mary's mind of birthday parties and school plays, of bedtime stories and whispered secrets. She had spent sleepless nights worrying about him. And now, standing here, all she wanted to do was wrap her arms around him and never let go. "Why did you come now?" he asked, his voice breaking as confusion mixed with pain. "After all this time?" Mary took a deep breath. "Because I never stopped loving you, Jason. I thought you were doing great, living your life. I thought you didn't want me anymore. I didn't know how to reach out. But you could have tried, Mom." The hurt in his voice cut deep. "You could have known. I missed you every day. I thought you'd be proud of me." "I am proud, honey, but that pride doesn't come without heartache. You left, chasing your dreams, and I didn't know how to follow." Her heart felt heavy as the words spilled out. "I just wanted to protect you. I thought it was best to give you space." Jason closed his eyes. Grief etched lines on his face. "It's always been about business with me. I lost myself in all the numbers and profits, but I never lost you, not really. I was scared you wouldn't accept me anymore." The vulnerability in his words hung heavily in the air. Mary saw the boy she raised, a boy afraid of rejection and drowning in a world filled with miles of wealth that felt like a wall between them. Her heart ached with understanding. "I'm here now," she said softly, reaching out to cup his cheek. "Let us not waste another moment." But as they shared this heartfelt exchange, a nurse burst into the room, her eyes wide. "We need you to step outside for a moment," she said firmly, her tone brisk. "We're running into complications." Mary's heart sank. The fear that had gripped her earlier returned, tightening her chest. "No, wait. I want to stay with him," she insisted, desperation creeping into her voice. "We need to stabilize him," the nurse replied. "It's critical." With a single nod, she felt Jason squeeze her hand, a silent promise passing between them. "I'll be right here," she vowed, stepping back reluctantly, another wave of uncertainty washing over her as she left the room. In the waiting area, Mary felt utterly lost and lonely, as if everything she had worked toward, the hope of reconnection, the surface of forgiveness, was slipping away again. What if this was her last chance? She paced the floor, anxiety gripping her as she imagined Jason fighting for his life. Just then, a familiar face appeared in the hallway. It was a woman Mary recognized from the gala, one of Jason's business associates. But now, the woman's expression was softer, as if she understood the gravity of the moment. "Are you Jason's mother?" she asked, her voice laced with concern. Mary nodded, her throat tight. "I'm sorry. I know he has been through a lot, but you need to understand." Mary's breath quickened. "Understand what? What do you mean?" The woman hesitated, her eyes filled with a secret longing. "There is something you don't know about Jason, something that could change everything." Mary's heart raced as the words hung in the air, charged with anticipation. What could this woman possibly reveal? Could it shift the very foundation of their fragile relationship? As the tension swelled and hope flickered back to life, Mary knew. This conversation could be the turning point she had desperately sought. The truth lingered just out of reach, waiting to be uncovered. Would it mend their hearts, or was it too late to bridge the distance? Mary's heart hammered in her chest as she stared at the woman, waiting for her to continue. The words hung between them, heavy with unspoken truths. "Your son has faced some challenges that you wouldn't believe," the woman said quietly. Her voice was thick with emotion. "He is intertwined in a world that is not just about numbers and profits. There are forces at play, things that happened that he never told you." "What are you saying?" Mary asked, her voice trembling. "What could possibly be so important that he didn't share with me?" I'm not sure how much he wanted you to know, but he got involved in charity work. At first, it was just a way to redeem himself among his peers, but over time, it became more. The woman paused, glancing down the hall, as if she were searching for someone. Mary felt her breath caught in her throat. Charity. She echoed, confusion swirling in her mind. But he's always been about business. I thought that's what he wanted. With a gentle nod, the woman continued, that's what he thought too. Until he saw how he could help others. There was a project, a community center for kids, and he poured himself into it. It changed him. That's why he was so driven, so focused. The gala, Mary mused, remembering the hope and ambition in Jason's speeches, his passion emanating from every word. He didn't seem to care about the money, he just seemed alive. That's right. But it took a toll on him, the woman said, her eyes darkening. When you're doing good, the world expects even more from you. He felt the weight of that expectation crushing down on him. I think it scared him, made him pull away. Especially after he lost touch with you. Regret washed over Mary like cold water. She had always been worried about the pressures of his job but had never considered the emotional impact it might have had. I never knew, she whispered, tears welling again. He was so focused on success that I thought that was what he wanted. And he does want it, the woman said, but it's more complicated than that. There's so much more. Just then, the shrill sound of an alarm echoed through the waiting area, drawing both women's attention. Startled, Mary felt her stomach drop as the nurse rushed past them, urgency in her steps. We need more hands in room 305. She called as she disappeared around the corner. Mary felt the walls closing in. With each moment passing, the hope of a renewed relationship with Jason seemed to slip further away. I can't lose him again, she breathed, panic flooding her voice. Not after finding him again. Wait. The woman said, grabbing Mary's arm gently. He needs you now more than ever. Don't let this slip by. With a swift nod, Mary pulled away, her own resolve hardening. I need to be there for him. I want to understand, I want to support him, whatever he's doing. As Mary hurried down the sterile corridor toward Jason's room, she felt a mix of fear and determination. What secrets lurked behind that door? What other revelations awaited her? She was ready to face whatever the truth might be, prepared to lay herself bare for the son she had nearly lost. Pushing open the door, Mary stepped inside and found the room bustling with activity. Nurses moved swiftly, doctors murmured orders, and her heart sank as she caught sight of Jason. He was unconscious, but the beeping machines showed he was fighting. Suddenly, the nurse at the bedside turned to her. Are you family? She asked, a serious look on her face. Yes. Mary replied, her voice resolute despite the crack of tension in the air. What's happening? Is he okay? As the nurse prepared to explain, Mary felt a sudden twinge of dread. She had taken the first step toward understanding Jason's world, but what would she learn in these moments? What if the truth she uncovered shattered everything she thought she knew? And as she stood rooted, waiting for answers, the sound of Jason's heart monitor suddenly changed, and a chill wrapped around her like ice. Could she handle the truth, whatever lay ahead? Or would the answers threaten to unravel the fragile thread that tied them together? Mary's breath caught in her throat as the nurse nodded, an urgency in her eyes that made the room feel even smaller. He needs you now, she said, moving closer to Mary. We're trying to stabilize him, but a lump formed in Mary's throat. But what? She could feel her heart racing, the fear wrapping around her chest like a vice. His vitals are erratic. We're doing everything we can. You need to talk to him. He may be able to hear you, the nurse urged. Mary approached the side of the bed, her eyes locked on Jason's pale face. Machines beeped rhythmically, but the sound felt distant, muffled by the thumping in her chest. She reached for his hand, its warmth paradoxical against the cold reality of the situation. Jason? It's Mom. I'm here. Please wake up. She squeezed his hand, searching for a flicker of life, a sign that he could still hear her. Memories rushed back, the laughter, the hugs, their road trips filled with music and joy. She had missed so much. Your mother loves you, Jason. You're not alone. Her voice trembled as tears brimmed. This wasn't how she wanted their reunion to go, this wasn't what she had envisioned when she learned the truth about his charity work. The nurse stepped back, giving Mary a moment alone. Mary leaned even closer, her heart aching with every passing breath her son didn't take. If you can hear me, please fight. I need you. Each word was a prayer, a desperate plea to the universe. A deep inhale filled the silence. Jason's eyelids fluttered slightly, but Mary wasn't sure if it was just wishful thinking. We have so much to talk about. I found out what you've been doing. You're wonderful, Jason. You've changed lives. But you need to come back to me now. As she spoke, memories of the woman in the hallway flooded back. Was it his charity work that took such a toll on him? Or was it how deeply he cared? A part of her longed to shield him from the world's pressures, but she realized now, he had found purpose. And yet, in this fragile moment, she had to consider, did he ever truly share that burden with her? The idea of Jason carrying that alone twisted her heart. Suddenly, alarms rattled, and Mary's gaze shot to the machines. The chorus of urgent beeps turned into chaos as nurses rushed back into the room. Get the doctor. Prep for resuscitation. Panic surged in Mary's veins. What is happening? She cried out, her voice trembling. A nurse held her back slightly, but she refused to be removed from Jason's side. Please, we need you to step back, the nurse implored, but Mary shook her head fiercely. No. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying with him. The room swirled around her, a cacophony of voices and sounds, but in her heart, Mary held on to hope. She had watched her son fight before, and now it was time for her to fight too. Just as he had been changed by his passion for others, she had been changed by her return to him. They both deserved a chance. As the swift movements of the medical team surrounded her, Mary closed her eyes for a moment and tried to focus on every breath, every heartbeat. You can do this, Jason. Fight for us. In that moment, something beneath the surface stirred. Would the connection between mother and son prove strong enough to pull him back? Would their hidden struggles lead them to a new tomorrow, or would darkness claim what they had only just begun to rediscover? And as the doctors worked, Mary knew the truth: love always had the power to heal. But could it save Jason in time? The room felt like it was spinning, and she was left wondering, was the battle they were about to fight one they could win together? The chaos in the room heightened, every voice blending into a frantic melody of urgency. Mary felt as if she were underwater, emotions swirling around her, heavier than the air. The quick footsteps of nurses and the sharp commands of doctors punctured her heart. She was losing him. Jason, please, she whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. The warmth of his hand in hers was like a tether to reality, grounding her even as the world around them blurred. She brushed a thumb across his knuckles, urging him to respond. You can't leave me. Not now, not when I've finally found you again. The doctor arrived, his face a mask of focus and determination. We need to intubate, he called out, a sense of authority in his voice that both soothed and terrified Mary. With practiced ease, the team moved into action, but all Mary could see was Jason. I love you, Jason. She shouted, knowing he could hear her. Whether it was the volume of her voice or the desperation in her expression, she refused to let him drift away without him knowing how deeply he was cherished. Fight for us. You're not alone. As they prepped him, she couldn't shake the thought of all the moments they lost, years of her being in the dark about who he truly was and the life he had built. The knowledge struck her like a blow. Was his silence not protection, but a choice he made out of love for her? A crushing weight settled in her heart, one that roused even more tears. In those intense seconds, surrounded by the flurry of medical action, a small movement caught her eye. Jason's finger twitched. Had she imagined it? The nurse who had initially brought her in caught it too, her expression shifting from panic to a glimmer of hope. "Doctor!" The nurse called urgently. "I think he's responding." Mary leaned in closer, her heart pounding. "Jason." She held her breath, praying this wasn't a cruel trick of the mind. "If you can hear me, just give me a squeeze." Another small twitch followed, this time stronger, more definitive. "Yes. You can do this. Please, fight." Mary's voice cracked but broke through the din around her, a lifeline thrown into the tempest. The doctor paused, assessing the signs. "Keep talking to him. It's good for him. We'll keep doing everything we can." But in the chaos of medical jargon and beeping machines, Mary realized there was something she needed to say, something important. "Jason, I know you've given so much of yourself away. It's okay to accept help. You're allowed to need me." Tears flowed freely now, a vent for the tumult inside her. "We can do this together. I want to help you carry this load. You're not just what you do. You're my son, the beautiful person I've been searching for." At that moment, the tension in the air shifted, a subtle lift. Jason's eyelids fluttered again, and she watched in awe as a flicker of life danced across his face. "Don't you dare leave me now," she implored, her words heavy with both desperation and newly found strength. "We're just beginning, Jason. Please." As the tension stretched and hovered palpably in the air, Mary stayed right where she belonged, clutching her son's hand, determined to anchor him back to life. But as machines beeped and breaths deepened, she couldn't help but wonder what lay ahead for both of them. Would they be able to reforge their connection? In the distance, she heard a voice whisper, "Time is running out." Then, the room began to quiet. Mary's resolve would be tested in ways she could never have anticipated. Could love alone truly heal them, or would they need to uncover the tangled tales hidden in Jason's past? And as she watched, trembling with hope and fear, the question loomed larger than life: was there enough time for healing and reconciliation? Mary's heart raced, the quiet now amplifying her thoughts as the team worked efficiently around Jason. She felt like she was living in a dream, a nightmare she couldn't wake up from. Each beep of the machines marked a moment that felt like an eternity. Her fingers squeezed his tightly, the warmth of his skin a fragile reminder of the bond they shared. Minutes felt like years. A nurse gently nudged her away from the clutter around Jason. "Mrs. Anderson, we're going to need to monitor him closely. You can stand here for now, but we may need your assistance in a moment." Mary nodded, though her heart sank. The fear of being separated from him, even for a moment, was unbearable. "Can you just promise me you'll take care of him?" The nurse offered a soft smile. "We will do everything we can. Just keep talking to him." As they worked, Mary took a steadying breath. She needed to be strong, not just for herself but for Jason. Would he even remember her face? The memories of their time together, how joy seeped into their laughter, danced teasingly in her mind. But with one glance at his frail form, those memories felt distant, clouds obscured by a storm. "Do you remember the old oak tree at the park?" She began softly, as if he were lying on the lawn, swinging his legs playfully under the shade. "You said it looked like it could tell 1,000 stories. We used to play under it for hours." She forced a smile, picturing how he would climb its gnarled branches, riding the thrill of a rush that only childhood could provide. Tears glimmered down her cheeks again as the memory faded. "I miss those days, Jay. But I'm here and I need you to come back to me." Silence filled the room again, punctuated only by their shared breaths. Then, with a sudden gasp, Jason's eyelids fluttered once more. Instantly, hope flared up within her. "Jason. Please, if you can hear me, squeeze my hand." To her astonishment, he responded, his fingers contracting ever so slightly. It was small but significant, a flicker of life kindling the embers of her hope. Just like that. You're doing it. I knew you could. Her voice broke, but it was filled with joy that cleared the fog of despair. Please, fight, baby. We're not done yet. You have so much to live for. The doctor looked over, visibly aware of the shift. He leaned in closer to Jason, speaking firmly, Jason, you're not alone. I need you to focus. Lift your hand if you can hear me. Another squeeze followed, stronger this time. No way, Mary gasped in disbelief, feeling buoyant with emotion. You're coming back to us. But just as quickly, she saw the doctor's brow wrinkle in concern. A new machine whirred to life, and her heart dropped as he barked commands. Prepare for elevated oxygen levels. He's struggling. Mary felt like she was standing on the edge of a cliff, her heart racing and her stomach churning. Jason. Stay with me. Do you want us to step aside? Another nurse asked, eyeing Mary with cautious understanding. No. I can't. I need him to hear me. She insisted, tears flowing anew as the feeling of desperation hit once more. Remember, Jay. Remember our dreams? You promised to build a life for the two of us. You can't give up on that now. In a surprising twist, Jason's hand gripped hers tighter. Each pulse resonated with her own heartbeat, a connection that brought forth warmth and light amidst the chaos. But as uncertainty loomed, her thoughts drifted again to the truth she hadn't processed: the life Jason led beyond their shared moments, a life filled with shadows she couldn't see. What choices had he made? What burden had he carried that now weighed so heavily? Just then, a voice suddenly crackled through the intercom, cutting the static charge in the room. Emergency alert, second team needed in room 203. Mary's heart dropped anew. The urgency ricocheted off her chest, an unanticipated wave crashing into her core. Was Jason in more danger than she realized? Stay with me, buddy, she whispered, feeling fragile yet fierce. We're only just starting to know each other again. As Jason's grip weakened, she felt a shift in the air. A desperate urge to uncover the secrets that had been buried for too long. How much had they had to lose? Could there be hope for a future together, or was it too late to revise their story? Questions hung like a thick fog, ready to engulf her. As the room buzzed with urgency, she could feel time slipping through her fingers like sand. Would they discover the roots that untied them before all was lost? Mary's heart thudded in her chest, a frantic drumbeat of anxiety and hope. The chaos around her faded, each beeping machine blending into a hum as she focused solely on Jason. She couldn't shake the tightness in her throat. Jason, please just breathe, she murmured, brushing a few strands of hair from his forehead. Remember how we talked about traveling? You said you wanted to see the world, visit Paris, hold my hand while we walked by the Seine. Her voice trailed off as she fought back fresh tears. She looked down at him, imagining their lives together, sitting in a quaint café, sharing a croissant while watching the world go by. Images of laughter and love flickered like old film reels. Would he ever get to share those dreams with her? Would they have the chance to make new memories, or would this moment be all they had? The doctor continued to shout instructions, and the nurses moved swiftly, faces taut with concentration. Mary's mind raced with confusion. She couldn't leave him. Not now. Not when every moment felt so precious. Listen to me, Jason, she urged, squeezing his hand as if her words could push life into him. I'm not going anywhere. I'm right here. You have to fight. Just then, she noticed his brow furrow slightly, a flicker of pain cutting across his features. What is it, Jay? Can you hear me? Her voice shook, an echo of her growing fear. A sudden panic gripped her as she thought about how lost she felt without him. Mary? A rasping whisper broke through the chaos. The sound was barely audible, but it broke her heart wide open. Jason. Oh my God, yes. She leaned closer, her breath hitching at the sound of his voice. He was back, he was fighting. Mary, the first his words were labored, but she could see the struggle in his eyes, a flicker of recognition. I'm sorry. Stop. You don't need to be sorry. Just focus on getting better. The urgency in her voice resonated, begging him to hold on to that sliver of connection. But now, as the nurse approached with an oxygen mask, a shadow of dread crossed his eyes. No, don't leave me, he pleaded, voice breaking. Never. I'm right here, Jason. I'm not going anywhere. You can do this. She applied the mask gently against his face, a fragile barrier separating her from the anguish she witnessed surrounding them. Time ceased to exist in that moment. Each second dragged on, every heartbeat a reminder of their shared vulnerability. She could feel the adrenaline rushing through her veins, intermingling with fear, hope, and an unshakable resolve. Then, through the commotion, the door swung open, and another team of doctors rushed in. Mary stepped aside for a moment, but as their conversations buzzed around her, she felt her heart lurch. Were they about to lose him again? Mrs. Anderson, we need you to step back, one of the doctors said, but she waved them off, shaking her head. No. I can't. He needs me, she protested, her voice quivering with emotion. Suddenly, what felt like a lifetime passed, and the doctors began to exchange remarks about a potential surgery, the urgency of it echoing deafeningly in her ears. Mary pressed her palms against her temples, trying to keep focused amidst the rising tide of anxiety. Will he make it through? She finally asked, her voice quaking. The lead doctor looked her in the eye, a candidness in his expression that caused her stomach to knot. It's going to be a fight, but if we act quickly, there's still a chance. A chance. Those words rang in her mind like a glimmer of hope reaching through the fog. As the team moved, Jason turned to her, his eyes searching hers. You, Mary, he murmured with exhaustion. I'm still here, Jason. I'm right here, she promised, her heart swelling with that truth. Whatever it takes, I will be with you every step of the way. Just hold on. The urgency in the room escalated, but Mary felt a moment of clarity hit her like a wave. This wasn't just about survival, it was about understanding the depths of their love and the paths that had led them here. Would they both fight for a second chance? As a nurse urged her to stay behind, she took a deep breath, knowing she could no longer hide from the shadows of his past. Whatever secrets lay beneath the surface, they needed to be confronted. What had Jason kept hidden, and would she be able to face the truth without losing herself in the process? The fight was just beginning, and they both had so much to discover together. Mary's hands trembled slightly as she stepped back, feeling the weight of the doctor's urgency pressing down on her. The room pulsed with a frantic energy, every beeping monitor a reminder of the stakes they were facing. She glanced at Jason, his face now obscured by the mask, but she could still see the flickering fight in his eyes. Just hold on, Jason, she whispered, her voice low but fierce, wrapping her arms around the profound silence that surrounded them like an invisible shield. Memories surged in her mind, silly moments spent laughing, late-night pizza runs, the way he crinkled his nose when he was focused. All the pieces of the life they had dreamed together hung in a delicate balance, just waiting to be woven back into existence. As the team prepared for surgery, Mary caught snippets of their conversations, clinical terms swirling around her. She couldn't let them erase the hope from her heart, though. It's going to be a fight, they had said. Well, she was ready. She nodded to herself, an unspoken promise to Jason echoing in her mind. She would fight for him. A nurse caught her eye, offering a soft smile. We'll take good care of him, she said gently, sensing the turmoil burning in Mary's soul. Mary wanted to believe her, but the fear clung to her like a shadow. Can I stay with him? The words slipped out before she could stop them. I need him to know I'm here. The nurse exchanged a glance with the doctor, who hesitated for a moment before nodding. We'll allow it for a few minutes, but please, be quick. We need to get started. Mary hurried to Jason's side, her heart racing. I'm right here, she said, wrapping her fingers tightly around his. The warmth of his skin beneath her grip grounded her. You're going to be okay. We're going to get through this together. Just keep your eyes on me. She leaned closer, her forehead almost touching his. Remember our plans? His eyelids fluttered, and for a brief moment, she thought she caught a flicker of a smile, but it quickly faded into a grimace. Mary's so tired. I know, her voice softened. But I need you to hold on a little longer. Paris isn't going anywhere, and I still want to eat those croissants with you. Promise? He murmured, his words almost lost in the buzzing atmosphere. I promise. Just like I promise to always be by your side. Her stomach twisted with emotion, every word felt like a lifeline. As the team approached, Mary took a deep breath, feeling the enormity of what lay ahead. She sensed Jason slipping into a state of acceptance, and she couldn't let him fade away. Jason, remember what I said about those dreams? You have to believe it. You have to come back to me. We'll fight, he managed to say, eyes fluttering closed. The doctors moved in, and Mary stepped back reluctantly, feeling the connection between them sever for just a moment. She stood on the periphery, her heart a battlefield of hope and fear. As they wheeled him away, moments passed like hours, her mind racing back to that last promise. Would he be able to fight as hard as he had lived? Their journey wasn't just about surviving, it became clear that they needed to navigate through the shadows of their life together. What lay ahead when they emerged from this darkness? A nurse brushed past her, reminding her that they couldn't stay idle. Mary felt a surge of determination. She would uncover Jason's secrets, whatever they were, and help him face demons that had haunted both of them. But a daunting question lingered as they rushed her out of the surgical room. Would they find the strength to heal, or would the truths they discovered pull them apart? The doors shut behind her, and all she could do was wait. Time stretched painfully, and amid the steady thrum of the hospital, a new wave of uncertainty crashed over her. What if she couldn't save him? Then, the waiting area door swung open again, and a figure stepped in dressed in a sharp, black suit. Mary frowned, confusion weaving through her heart. Who could it be? And why did they look so familiar? Her stomach knotted as they took a step toward her, their expression unreadable. This chapter might hold more than just a fight for Jason's life. Would this stranger's presence disrupt everything they'd fought for? Mary squinted, trying to make sense of the figure before her. The well-tailored suit felt out of place in the sterile environment of the waiting area. Sharp features framed by slick back hair only added to the air of mystery surrounding this person. It was as if they'd just stepped out of a different world entirely. Mary, the stranger said, their voice smooth yet tinged with an unsettling urgency. Do I know you? She replied, her stomach churning. Conflicting emotions tangled within her. They looked familiar, yet she couldn't place them. We need to talk, the figure insisted, glancing around as if concerned someone might overhear. It's about Jason. A rush of protective instinct surged through her. What do you know about him? I can help him, they responded, maintaining eye contact. Their intensity was unsettling. But you need to trust me. Trust is a fragile thing, especially in a hospital where every tick of the clock felt like another second stolen from Jason. Why should I trust you? Who are you? I'm someone who understands what's at stake. Please, just listen, they said, lowering their voice. What I have to tell you could change everything for Jason. Mary's heart raced. She wanted to refuse, to turn back to the empty surgical wing where Jason was fighting for his life, but something about this stranger demanded her attention. Fine. You have 5 minutes. The figure stepped closer, glancing back again as if ensuring no one was listening. Jason's not who you think he is. He's not just an average guy, he's been living a double life. He inherited a fortune, millions, maybe more. Her breath hitched, disbelief wrapping around her like a vice. A fortune? You must be mistaken. He doesn't care about that stuff. I know. But there's more. His life has been complicated. I can help you understand why he needs to fight harder now than ever. But it's going to take everything you have to cope with the truth. Mary shook her head, frustration bubbling to the surface. What good is money if he might not even make it through the surgery? What do I care about fortunes? Because it's not just the money, Mary. It's about protecting him, his past, everything he has been running from. The life he chose to leave behind, the stranger pressed. If he survives he may face dangerous repercussions. A chill ran down her spine. Repercussions? What do you mean? The figure paused, their expression shifting from urgency to something softer, a flash of sympathy. There are people who won't let him go easily. The moment he wakes up they will come for him. You have to be ready for that. Mary's mind spun, colliding realities crashing against each other in disarray. It felt unreal, like a plot twist from a bad movie, but deep down, she knew the stranger was serious. The truth was lurking in the shadows of Jason's life, and now it was threatening to overwhelm her. I need to find a way to keep him safe, she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. The stranger nodded gravely. You will. But you need to understand everything about his life, or you won't be able to help him. As time ticked on in the waiting room, Mary realized she was being pulled into a storm far beyond her control. Could she really protect Jason from the truth that would unsettle everything they built together? Suddenly, the surgical doors swung open. A doctor emerged, tired but resolute. Mary? He called, scanning the area. Mary's heart dropped. Yes. How is he? The stranger stepped back, expression unreadable but eyes glimmering with a hint of warning. This is just the beginning, they murmured before fading into the crowd. In that moment, the weight of her world rested solely on her shoulders. She glanced back to the doctor, his next words shaping the course of what was to follow. Would she be ready for the revelations waiting just beyond the horizon? Mary, we need to talk. Mary's heart raced as she met the doctor's gaze. She felt a tremor of fear course through her. Is he okay? She breathed, every second stretched into an agonizing eternity. The doctor's face was solemn, weariness etched into his features. It's complicated. We managed to stabilize him, but Jason is awake, and he has been asking for you. Relief flooded through her, but it was quickly accompanied by uncertainty. What did he need to say? Was he aware of the new revelations that lay ahead? I need to see him, Mary insisted, her feet already moving towards the surgical doors, but the doctor held up a hand. Before you go in, there is something you need to know, he said, his eyes locking onto hers with an intensity that made her stomach drop. Jason is in a state of confusion. There is information coming to light that may affect his state of mind. You need to be prepared for anything. Prepared for anything? Her chest tightened. What could that possibly mean? He has been battling more than just his health. There are layers to this situation that go beyond typical hospital procedures. It may be overwhelming, but he needs you. Taking a deep breath, Mary steadied herself. I can handle it. Just tell me how to help him. The doctor nodded, stepping aside. Just be supportive. Listen to what he has to say. He needs the reassurance of your love more than ever. Heart pounding, Mary entered the room. Jason's face was still as pale as before, but there was a flicker of life in his eyes as they met hers. Their connection pulsed in the air, heavy with emotions they had barely begun to untangle. Mom. He whispered, pain lacing his voice. I'm here, she rushed to his side, taking his hand in hers. I'm right here, baby. His brow furrowed, confusion swimming in his gaze. I don't know, what's real, everything is a mess. Just breathe. We'll figure it out together, she urged, refusing to pull away from his grasp. And then, the memories hit him like a wave. He began to speak, fragmented pieces spilling out, piecing together the puzzle of his life. I thought I had it all. The wealth, the success. But it's been hiding everything, it's all a trap. I don't know who I am anymore. The sorrow in his voice struck her deep. Jason, you're my son. No matter what happens, that hasn't changed. Tears spilled down her cheeks as she placed her palm on his cheek. You're still the boy I raised. I'm proud of everything you've done. But you have to let me help you. I want to, he choked out, but I don't know how. I've hurt so many people, Mom. And the choices I've made, they threaten everything. What you've done in the past doesn't define who you are now, she said, her voice steady despite the weight of their conversation. You found purpose in helping others, Jason. I see that now. You have to hold on to it. Mom, there are people who want to bring me down, he groaned. That fortune, it's a curse in disguise. Realization washed over her. Everything he did was tied into the very life he tried to leave behind. Then let us stand together. I will fight for you, Jason. I'll help you face whichever battles await, she declared, feeling the strength swell inside her. Promise? He replied, anguish raking his features, his eyes full of uncertainty. Promise. I'm not going anywhere. We're in this together, she swore, the urgency of their shared journey hardening her resolve. And with each gentle squeeze of his frail hand, she felt hope stitching the rips in their bond. They had so much to uncover together, so much to heal, but for the first time in years, Mary sensed the flicker of something brighter blossoming between them. In that moment, they found an anchor amid the storm. Even as the truth loomed ahead about his past, about the tangled web of wealth, connections, and consequences, the foundation they built on love and understanding became their guiding light. As the door creaked open again, the mystery of Jason's life and his past drifted closer, but Mary now knew something crucial: together, they could face anything. Let us do this, she whispered, squeezing his hand tightly. Their journey was ready to begin anew, a fresh start that neither of them could have imagined. And as Jason closed his eyes, the weight of uncertainty remained, but now it was balanced by the undeniable truth: the power of love could mend, heal, and transform everything. This was their moment, the beginning of an inspiring journey together. And just as they prepared to face what lay ahead, Mary silently vowed that they wouldn't simply survive together, they would thrive. Now it's your turn. You need to subscribe now. Hit that button so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more hearts. Comment your reactions and feelings about this emotional ending. And share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful transformation. Don't wait one more second. Your support means everything.